What is going on, party people? Welcome to the Big Dudes in the Trenches podcast.
What up?
That does imply multiple dudes. So I'm Doug. Over here is Tug. Ben's hiding in the shadows somewhere. May or may not join us at some point. I would be very exciting if he did. We'll have to wait and see with bated breath.
It was a wild week this week. I'm okay with it. I understand the recovery period. This was a fun week of football.
Oh, it was an incredible week of football. We had at least one game that surpassed expectations in Oregon, Washington, which top 10 games usually don't live up to the hype, honestly. So the fact that we've had basically two this year now with Oklahoma and Texas, I would count as a top 10 game, and they're ranked that way now. So that's
wasn't Ohio State Notre Dame a top 10 game at the time too?
It was.
Yeah, it was 6 versus 9.
Nice. Speaking of Ohio State, they had to play on the cock, and Ohio legislators are trying to introduce a bill requiring that if a game is going to be exclusively on a streaming service, that it has to be broadcast on local channels as well, so that students at the university do not have to pay an extra fee to watch their classmates. I understand this is also to help the bars in the area.
or and hear me out, the college could offer that as a package.
I don't want any college offering me any package. They can keep their packages to themselves.
Oh, sure, but you want it on the cock, huh?
We saw what happened when universities were offering their package to people in Penn State. So I don't want that to happen again.
Oh, no.
Especially not in the Big Ten.
I think this is just particular, and this is just a thing when you're talking about streaming, because while the technology is there, it's still not there in a lot of ways too. So a lot of bars, businesses, everybody's kind of playing catch up to figure this out. I mean, I was telling my dad I watched the whole Thursday night game on my phone, and he's like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." So you do lose. Not only do you lose the older crowd, but it does put a strain on some businesses to try and figure out the streaming side of things inside their business.
Well, yeah, and if they're an established business, unless they upgrade all of their equipment to smart TVs, they're just out of luck, right? So there are some businesses who just not even that, because to carry the game. Wild.
I haven't seen that. Every sports bar I've been to has no issue pulling up Sunday Ticket right now, which is on YouTube TV. It's not Direct TV anymore. So I don't necessarily buy that. I think there's still plenty of availability to businesses, and I think they made it known how to do it. I think you have to look for it and be wanting to do it is the thing.
Here's the thing, though, is it's Ohio State fans, and they get very upset about things very quickly, and there are enough of them that it might cause change. So it's worth talking about.
I also see this as different between the cock and YouTube TV. The cock has a cable network channel available. Problem solved.
Yeah, and NBC owns more than just NBC, right? If we got a Big Ten football on the USA Network, that would slap so hard. We already have ACC football in the CW.
They do it for the Olympics.
Well, and that's the other thing, that you did not have to pay to watch this game. Like if it was a live stream game on Peacock, they weren't charging people to watch it. You could watch it with a free account. You just had to log in to do it.
Yeah, but it's gross because
that's how they get you.
Anyway, there were a whole bunch of other games that happened outside of streaming services this weekend, and we got to watch those in particular. So luckily, those are the games we talked about this week. A bunch of ranked versus ranked matchups, a bunch of rivalry matchups, and then our own matchups that we pick every single week, as we like to do. We're still on the AP poll. The first playoff committee ranking comes out in like 2 weeks, I believe. So we
have it's still that far away?
Yes.
I feel like they push it back further and further. I feel like they push it back further and further every year.
Yeah.
I propose that they start switching to the college football playoff poll whenever the AP starts doing men's basketball preseason polls, because I don't trust the
Oh,
AP.
now.
Yeah, the AP already, and now they've got to do 2 polls, and one of them's complete bullshit, and the other one's like 50-50.
But we do live in a world currently where FAU basketball is ranked ahead of Alabama football in their respective top 25s. And that is a world that I want to live in. So I'm okay with it for right now.
You know what's funny to me though? You know what's funny to me is FAU is a bad call at the end of their first round game last year from being irrelevant.
Yep.
Still counts for something, apparently. In addition to those games that we pick to watch, if we pick good matchups, we get bonus points. If not, we could potentially lose points, which hasn't happened yet this season. It's bound to happen at some point. Maybe this very week, but we will get there. If you know, you know. If we can't figure it out, it will go up on X. Follow us there at Big Dudes in the Trenches. Of course, if you're live with us, that is the best way to experience this podcast. We are on Twitch right now, Big Dudes in the Trenches, all one word. Or check out the video version up on YouTube after the fact, because the video is a little bit important here.
Yeah.
worth
Yeah, it is.
It's worth attending, especially as we keep improving the graphics game, or at least trying to.
All I know is I've been told not to look at the slides, so I don't quite know what's going to happen. I'm kind of scared.
It'll get good. It'll get good. We'll start off pretty tame, though. Starting us off with our record review, where we are so far. I do have the lead by way of bonus points, 105 to 102. Bug down there with 91. Not insurmountable by any means, but we are pulling away.
Yet. Yeah, that changes this week. Don't worry.
No,
We'll
bowl
see.
season
We'll
still
see.
has to come. It's still surmountable.
I might have put myself too far behind.
And there are like 40 bowl games. So if you go 40-0 and we go 0-40, you will win.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
I
I'm
think
going to pick the same
realistically,
exact games that you do.
I'll get between 25 and 30 in bowl season, and that's where I'm going to end up being.
But let's start off with our ranked versus ranked matchups, as we like to do. Starting us off, of course, with the first ranked versus ranked game of the weekend. Number 6, North Dakota State at number 15, North Dakota. The battle for the nickel trophy. Oh no, watch out, Bug. The Fighting Hawk is coming for you. As we got hawked.
Oh my God. What is going on with North Dakota State this year?
They are a quarterback away from being good again.
They're rebuilding, which is
sometimes.
It's a weird thing to say about North Dakota State, but they legitimately are rebuilding this year.
No, that's fair. I just seen them do it in stride so many times. To see them come out and get beat by their rival like this it's honestly astounding.
Not only beat by the rival, but beat by North Dakota for the first time since 2003. It's been 20 years since the Fighting Hawks have beaten the Bison. And
they got beat by 25
It's pretty
points.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a definitive nickel trophy rearranging here, which made me bring out the North Dakota hat. Let's go Fighting Hawks. It's basically the Notre Dame logo, but green. So what Notre Dame wishes it could be. That's
what Notre Dame tries to be whenever they break out the color green and gold.
I can't stand those uniforms.
I love
it. Makes
them.
It look good. Notre Dame, fucking gross. All right, Youngstown State at South Dakota. In a field goal game here, we all picked the Coyotes, and we do come away victorious. Youngstown State is one of those teams that they're like pretty good, but they're right on the edge of being mediocre. It is so weird to keep up with them. And South Dakota looks like they might have one of the best defenses in all of the FCS. And then Youngstown State puts up 31 points on them. So this was a really close game, a great matchup, and the Coyotes just pulled it out.
They are so up and down. It's insane watching this Youngstown State team. And if you're a fan of this team, it's got to be driving you nuts.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not even that Youngstown State played bad. They played well. They just got beat on the road. Like that happens.
It really do be like that sometimes,
It
as
doobie
the Penguins
do.
found out. It doobie do.
Like Scooby, yeah.
I hate you guys so much.
Next
This
up,
coming from the guy with the dad joke later. He hates us.
in Seattle, we got the border war, Oregon at Washington, in one of the greatest Big Ten games I've ever seen.
Oh my God. You cannot claim them yet.
Absolutely, he can. And just for our viewers, yes, we know there's a mistake there. They both went into this game undefeated, and the former Pac-12 rivals just decimated each other on the field.
I left the records the way they were before the games for all of these
Gotcha.
intentionally, because I think it's interesting to see where they were. North Dakota State's now 4-2. That's what that means, by the way. Wild. Oregon is 5-1 now. Washington's 6-0 after a game that could have gone either way and felt like it should have maybe at the end even. But man, it was just what a game. Oh my gosh.
So the question for me comes down to that fourth down, and I know that's what everyone's talking about, but it's something that we need to talk about. And I understand both sides of it, but that was just, in hindsight, that is not the right call. I understand, like, if he gets it, he's a genius. If
Right.
he doesn't, like that
I mean,
one
that's
call
all you can say,
literally
right?
changed the game.
If it works,
Yeah.
then nobody's questioning it.
And then he still had a chance. His kicker just had a college kicker moment, which it happens. You expect.
That's why they're called college kicker moments. My
Yeah.
bigger question is, are we still talking about Michael Penix Jr. today as the Heisman frontrunner if Washington loses this game, or are we all on the Bo Nix train?
We're all on the Bo Nix train because that's how the Heisman works.
I've been on the Bo Nix train since
His
his
freshman year. Yeah, you've been a Nix rider.
Better than a Dix rider.
Bojangles.
Better than a Penix rider.
Facts.
All right, let's move on.
This was not a game.
It was the battle for the Jewel of Shillelagh, not a game, actually. So,
Well, it wasn't even a battle. It was a clinic for the Jewel of Shillelagh.
All right, Caleb Williams threw 3 interceptions. This was the second game of his career that he's thrown multiple interceptions. At the same time, I'm not a known Caleb Williams defender, so maybe this will mean something coming from me. That wasn't on him. Legitimately, there were some bad plays on the defensive side of the ball for USC, which we've all expected at this point, and some tips that just Notre Dame was in the right position for. It was a lot of pressure from the Fighting Irish, which was a little bit interesting to me because that's the exact recipe Louisville used against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame just flipped the script and used that on Caleb Williams. And it worked. If you get to the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, that can affect the game. So it's a little bit interesting to think, if he ends up on the Chicago Bears, is this how he's going to look in games? Because he's not going to get all that protection all the time.
God.
Just got to call it.
I've not been on the, if the Bears have the first round pick or the number 1 pick, they need to draft a fucking quarterback. There's like 7 other areas they need to fucking address first.
Well, and you guys have the first 2 picks this year so far.
And they probably will at the end of the year too.
So I look at this, and this highlighted every issue I had with USC, and it's not even off the pressure. Like, take the picks away, give USC those 3 touchdowns, which is roughly what you'd expect them to be at. So we'll call it 42, 48, 42. That's about where I expect this game to be, because Notre Dame can score. They have a good offense. USC can score. They have a good offense. But I expected throughout the entire game Notre Dame's defense to get 1 additional stop. It ended up being a couple bad turnovers that, whether or not they're Caleb Williams' fault, doesn't matter. They happened. This is the defensive concern for USC, and it just confirms it for me.
Yeah, I agree. basically. I mean, that's been the issue with
Lincoln Riley's
USC
teams.
and Oklahoma. I wouldn't. All right, there is an element of concern for Lincoln Riley's decision making when it comes to this, but it is not Lincoln Riley's defense. He has handed that entirely over to Alex Grinch. It is Alex Grinch's defense.
Who was his defensive coordinator in Oklahoma?
Alex Grinch.
Okay, so there is that's where my thing is coming from. Is like Lincoln. You're right. Lincoln Riley has completely passed that off, but it's at the point where it's almost he's done it too much, and he doesn't care about the defense. That's the issue. That's the feeling I get from it. Is he is not paying attention to that side of the ball at all, and it is not where it needs to be.
And that's why I'm backtracking, saying, yeah, there is an element of this that is on Lincoln Riley. He is the head coach still, but as far as like scheme goes and stuff, Lincoln Riley's still a good coach. I don't know.
No, he's
I feel weird defending him. I can't.
I'm not taking anything away from Lincoln Riley. He's a great coach. He just ignores. He is a much better coordinator than he is a head coach, at least from what he's put on the field in terms of product to this point.
Can I stop defending USC now, please?
Yes.
Let's move on to Miami at North Carolina. North Carolina gets their first 6-0 start.
Known football school, North Carolina.
Since who knows when. Mac Brown, the job he has done in North Carolina is reminiscent of another great North Carolina coach back in the day before he left for Texas. Who was that guy? Mac Brown? Yeah. So it's really cool. And yeah, Miami just couldn't handle it. 41-31. Miami actually came back a bit at the end to make this game closer than it actually was. And North Carolina looks pretty darn good.
Miami tried to make a game of it, but it's just not there. They're starting to step over their toes. They're making too many mental mistakes. This Hurricanes team is going to fall fast through the rest of the year.
That's unfortunately how it's been going for Miami the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Every time people start saying the U's back, they play somebody with any sort of talent, and everybody realizes, oh, wait, maybe they're not.
Which sounds a lot like Texas.
I'm going to disagree.
So can we start doing U down?
People already do, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's anything new.
Well, I haven't done it yet, so there it is.
Can I just say that I'm happy we avoided the chippening for the second week, or we avoided it 2 weeks in a row?
If it happened 2 weeks in a row, I might have to start calling it the chocolate chip. Just getting dirty.
Double chocolate chipped.
Oregon State wins it for us, as we all predicted. 36-24, Oregon State over UCLA. And really, this game came a lot down to the running games, as we had kind of talked about in the previews. Damian Martinez versus Carson Steele was the main storyline out of this game, even though DJ Uiagalelei looked pretty solid, like respectable. This was Damian Martinez's win for this offense.
Yeah, you talked about it a couple weeks ago that Corvallis is becoming a tough place to play, and this really goes to show just how good the Oregon State program has built itself up, especially in the local community out there.
Well, and then you take where they were literally 2 years ago at 1-11. You see what they're doing now. This is a massive turnaround for this program.
The Beavers are legit, and I love it. Love it so much. Next up, oh, fuck. We got mauled.
We got grizzed.
Montana beats Idaho at Idaho, 23-21 in the Little Brown Stein game, which...
Fantastic game on all accounts.
Phenomenal game. Montana came out to a 10-0 lead, which I didn't expect. And then it was 17-0 for Montana. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. What did we do? Idaho made a game of it. 23-21 is the final here. My biggest takeaway from this, though, is how great it is to have Idaho back in the FCS where they belong, because this is absolutely their rival and not like anyone in the Sun Belt or something. You had the student section of Idaho chanting "fuck Montana." it's not going to happen with like FIU or something, you know? It's got to be regional, and it's got to be
It's gotta
these dang
matter.
Grizzlies.
It's
And
got
we're getting mauled by the Grizzly up there. Brutal. We all
It's
picked
bound to
Idaho
happen.
here,
Man, this Montana team is so hot and cold. Like
right?
it looks like they found their stride, and that's dangerous for the rest of the Big Sky. After we've been talking absolute dog shit about them for the past like 3 weeks, here they come.
Well,
Like, we're back,
in
baby.
our defense, they played like dog shit for
Oh
the
yeah,
past couple
I didn't
weeks.
say what we said was false.
They
At the
just
time
turned
when
it
we
on
said
here.
it. Yeah.
Amazingly, it looked like Idaho couldn't handle the physicality of this Montana team for some reason, which
Well,
is the
if you were-
exact opposite of what had been happening for the last 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Wha-
but if you put a Vandal and a Grizzly Bear in a fight, who's going to be more physical and who's going to win? Apparently,
Well, the bear will be
Grizzly
more
Bear.
physical, but the Vandal will actually have guns in that scenario.
Maybe.
And I would pick the Vandal.
Maybe. They might only have spray
We're talking
cans.
about
We don't
Idaho
know.
and Montana here. They all have guns. It's fine.
Yeah, wait. So hold up. There's a good chance the Grizzly Bear has a gun.
That's scary.
Let's move on to
We
some
have the right to
rivalry
bear
games here.
arms, not arm bears. Fuck.
Cocaine Bear?
Next up for our rivalry matchups, I had said what I wanted to see out of this Georgia Vanderbilt game was for Vanderbilt to score a touchdown. They did more than that. They got 20 points on the board against Georgia, and they fucked up Brock Bowers.
So they fucked up Georgia's offense completely.
If this is a legitimate rivalry, which some people think that it is, some don't care about it anymore. But if it is, what a way to fuck up your rival's season. Let's go Vanderbilt.
Dude, I'm not going to say Georgia's going to lose within the next few weeks because I'm not here to make that claim. But they might be on red alert right now, given the state of their defense, who just let Vanderbilt score 20, and given the state of their offense, who just locked Brock Bowers. There is some major reasons to be concerned out in Georgia right now.
The state of their offense, who just got ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Back just in time
for the SEC championship game.
If I were Georgia, I would be very concerned about Tennessee, and honestly, Missouri looked pretty good this week too. So you have a couple of teams out of the SEC East who have a shot now that they didn't feel like they would have had.
Do they smell blood in the water, and can they attack it? That's really what this comes down to.
Well, I guess we'll find out going forward. But Georgia did win this one, and we all got the point for it. Next up, the Military Classic of the South. VMI at the Citadel.
This was like Tug's wet dream here. 2 senior military academies going at it, bumping uglies. VMI wins this one 17-13. I know you were tuned into this one, Tug.
Yeah.
Dude, I almost forgot this game was on and I could watch it anywhere.
I picked the Citadel. And
I liked your reasoning, Doug. Doug, I did like your reasoning. Just didn't pan out.
It was very superstitious.
VMI sitting here at 3-3 on the season. What is this world?
And the Citadel's 0-7. That sounds about right.
Yeah,
moving on. Iowa at Wisconsin.
Called this game. I called this game.
Trophy. All right, here's my point. You only won because Iowa hurt Tanner Mordecai. That's my claim.
I didn't say why I won.
I feel like they forgot to play jump around or something. This doesn't make any sense.
I made 2 predictions in this game. I said I was going to win, and I was going to score less than 25 points.
And they scored 15 and won. That is disgusting. Also, it is a very real possibility they go into the championship game 11-1, as the Iowa Hawkeyes here have a very favorable schedule going forward. One upset at the end of the season, we're looking at a playoff Iowa with this offense. That is disgusting.
No.
And
the
exciting.
College Football Playoff Committee wouldn't do it, would they?
If they
way.
Beat an undefeated Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State at the end of the year in the Big Ten championship game, you have to let Iowa in. You have to.
That's how Brian Ferentz keeps his job without scoring 25 points a game.
It's a new athletic
Speaking
director.
of that,
we'll see. Oh, I know how much you guys love this. That was a very short one this week because they only got 15 points.
He's so far behind.
This-
He's never going to catch up.
This is my favorite day of the week because of this. And I know I see it on Saturday, but I love watching it on air with you guys.
Shout out to the Sickos Committee. Thank you. Thank you for this. We appreciate everything you do.
Oh, man. We have some more rivalry games.
We're going to play it again.
We're gonna play it again. It was too short. He's
minus-
29 points off track.
Yep. Off track. I thought you said off crack, and that was also accurate.
No, they need him to be off crack here because whatever he's smoking ain't working.
I think getting on it might help him at this point.
Maybe. UNLV at Nevada is up next. The Fremont Cannon. What Barry Odom is doing here at UNLV has been very impressive, as we said in the preview show. But beating Nevada 45-27 solidifies that a little bit. I know Nevada's winless on the season still, but it is a rivalry game on the road and a big win for the Rebels.
I just realized the most disgusting thing that's a distinct possibility.
UNLV Air Force
for the Mountain West championship game? No, the Pac-12 championship game? You're right. Like, ugh.
I said MAC initially for some reason.
Either way, it would be a good game, but just
no. No. Please no. Next up,
beat UNLV, please. Get this out of
Barry
here.
Odom's he's known for having tough defenses, so good luck with that.
But the Air Force runs the triple option. So we'll see. Next up, the Tiger Bowl. Auburn at LSU. Unfortunately, they were in the dome, but they were in a pretty solid path to catch the eclipse if they were not. No, wait, this was outside.
Both of these stadiums are outside. I'm really confused.
I don't know where I got that from. Anyway, yeah, LSU won 48-18. Wasn't even close. Fuck you, Tuck.
All right, I'll take it. Moving on.
I just want to say, if LSU's defense were at least a little bit okay this year, Jaden Daniels would be in the thick of the Heisman conversation.
I'm just legitimately confused what you were thinking with
I don't know.
Auburn here.
It's late, dude.
No, I just why did Tug pick Auburn? Like, it did not pan out, whatever you were thinking here.
I wasn't. So this was not a mix of not trusting Brian Kelly and also seeing how Auburn can control the clock and how they can dominate that, which can change a game when you are vastly under-talented. If you can run the ball effectively and control the clock, you actually put yourself in a position to win games just by limiting the other team. That's what I expected to happen. That is not at all what happened. And yeah, I'll take my loss when I get it.
Yep. That sounds like the exact opposite of what happened. So
yeah.
Good try. NC State at number 17, Duke. The first part of the Tobacco Road that we've seen all season to this point. Duke nails this one 24-3 over the Wolfpack. What were you thinking?
This is setting up a good matchup.
Duke just came out ready to match the physicality of NC State, and they didn't have an answer. Duke has a much more talented roster. I thought maybe, especially with a little bit of a bang up for their quarterback, that maybe NC State would be able to get to him, rattle him a little bit. But props to Duke, standing tall and standing steady, getting the job done at home.
Yeah, and you were saying this does set up a great matchup with Florida State coming up.
No, I was actually thinking setting up a great matchup against North Carolina too. Both of those games are games to watch.
And Louisville. I mean, Duke has an incredible stretch coming up here.
The ACC is relevant and interesting this year for the first time in a couple of years. I'm enjoying this.
It might be one of the last years for the ACC. So
no, they just added 3 more teams on the other coast. Well, 2 on the other coast.
I mean, in preparation of losing their good ones. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, We got some games that we picked out to watch this weekend, starting, of course, with our lovely bug up the top here.
Welcome. Hello. I went with Tulane at Memphis for my first game. One, because I wanted everybody to get another look at Memphis before they take on UAB next week in the Battle of the Bones for that beautiful bronze rack of ribs. And mostly because this was the end of Memphis's toughest stretch of their schedule. They had Missouri and St. Louis, Boise State at home, and then Tulane at home. The winner of this game is, got a clear path to the top spot in the conference as far as conference championship goes. And Tulane got the job done. This game was back and forth for a while. Memphis scored 21 unanswered points to take a 21-10 lead. And then Tulane would score 21 unanswered points and take a 31-21 lead. This game was really close, really entertaining. Tulane went on that run, and then everything just kind of calmed down and it just kind of played itself out from there. Things got a little chippy, a little dirty. Memphis player, of course, getting thrown out because it's Memphis. And, I just
No. You have to expound on that. He punched a dude.
He punched a dude in the dick, yeah. I have come to expect this sort of behavior from Memphis players.
I mean, that's just, you can't leave that out.
It didn't surprise me at all.
And dick shot at the dude.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm saying it didn't surprise me at all. But it was at that point where I kind of knew, all right, the wheels are falling off. A big thing for Memphis here, positive and negative, right? The run game never really got going. Blake Watson's been such a huge part of this offense. But guys like Brandon Taylor, Sutton Smith were able to get involved in the run game and looked good. Brandon Thomas, sorry, not Brandon Taylor. They looked good, especially after Thomas had a great freshman season, aside from a few fumbles. Seeing him get another chance was awesome. But they never established anything on the ground, got super one-dimensional, and that kind of led Memphis down a bad path, especially late in the game. Tulane was able to take care of business here, but if I'm being honest, I think Memphis is the better team of these two. I would love to see a replay of this game in a conference championship.
So what was tough for me here is I was watching the first quarter and I was like, okay, Tulane has this. Then I was watching the second quarter into the third quarter and I went, I think Memphis has this. And then the fourth quarter was all Tulane again. These teams split the halves that they played. They each played, at least from what I was able to see consistently, half a game. Just Memphis had the middle two quarters, and it's so tough with that when your teams, both sides, are going hot and cold like that. It's hard to stay on top of it.
I do want to shout out Seth Hennigan had 2 interceptions on the game, but one of them was definitely not his fault. So don't blame Seth Hennigan entirely, at least.
I wouldn't either. And I think there's plenty of blame to go around here too. Obviously, I'm in more Memphis groups than anything. I guess I would probably say as far as
That's
college football related.
Weird.
Crazy, right?
It's almost like you went to school there.
Yeah, crazy.
What?
Everybody calling for Hennigan to get out of there, Silverfield to get out of there. If you want to put a little bit more blame on the coach, sure. But I don't see how you can blame Hennigan. There's a lot of people talking out of both sides of their mouth saying they don't want him to take all these sacks, but they also don't want him throwing the ball. And it's like, okay, so what do you want him to do?
That's my favorite one. Hey, don't get rid of the ball, but don't take a sack. Well, hold up then. You took my 2 options away when my line breaks down.
Don't get rid of the ball. Don't hold on to the ball. Don't throw the ball too early. Don't throw it too late. Don't throw it on time either.
The one thing.
Don't stay in the pocket.
Yeah. The one thing that irritates the hell out of me too, that a lot of people just overlook as far as Ryan Silverfield, the guy is an offensive line coach, and on multiple plays, the left guard double teamed the man coming over the center, leaving a defensive tackle completely unblocked and just getting a free shot at Hennigan. So I don't understand. This, I saw this happen once, real time, and I think I saw it happen at least 2 or 3 other times in replays. And I'm just like, how the fuck is this happening multiple times throughout a game? Blows my mind.
I'm sorry. I just went to my mind went straight to the gutter. I'm sorry. I don't want to explain. Let's move on.
My next game, Hampton versus Monmouth. Monmouth was hosting here. And both of these teams, I said it, this one would be a turning point for them in their season. Potential to start an upward trend. And, Monmouth,
Looks like they're
Mama-
on that path.
Yeah, they took some good steps to that. 61-10 over the Pirates.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant improvement from where they started the year.
Yeah, you can say that. They improved to 3-3 while Hampton falls to 3-3. Monmouth might be they might be on the trajectory we thought that they would be at the beginning of the year.
Just took them 6 weeks to get there, but they made it.
Yeah,
Hey,
they finally showed up.
Sometimes that's all you need. If you get hot at the right time and you stretch out long enough, you can still make the playoffs because you're in the CAA and there are like 8 teams in the CAA who make the playoffs.
Yeah. Last but not least, I had UAB at UTSA. Oh my God, I didn't get skunked on my own slide for once.
I did,
rarity. I know.
And I prevented the skunking on 2 different games here, so I get a crown. That's what I say.
One, I picked
Fucking
UAB to
go.
avoid the skunk and instead skunked myself.
Yes, you
You're
did.
getting a good whiff, buddy. That's brutal.
UAB is not a good team, apparently. UTSA, though, I say it every time I bring them up. I put a lot of faith in Jeff Traylor, and this is what is getting me here. UTSA takes this one 41-20.
You know what I say? Meep, damn meep.
Maybe.
Oh God.
That's all there is to it. I mean, what else can you say? There's no way to follow that up. It was too perfect.
Yeah.
Gotta move on.
To Doug's games.
Well, I don't know. Did I have any good games out of this? The only one that's even in contention is Tulane and Memphis.
I think that is a good game.
I would count that as a good game. It was close for most of the game. Tulane pulled it out.
And the
game was much closer than 31-21 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say too. I didn't mention this in my earlier breakdown, but go through a couple of their scoring drives for Tulane. They were on several 3rd and long situations. Now, yes, the Memphis defense completely broke down and was very inefficient on 3rd and long, but they were still putting themselves in favorable positions all night. Yeah. If they do it once, maybe it's a defensive fuck up. They do it multiple times consistently throughout the game. You've got to give some of that to Tulane as well.
Yeah.
I'm cool with giving you no bonus points either direction there.
Let's go, P.
Hopefully I can get some similar leniency. All right, so starting off with Gardner Webb at Austin P here. I chose the wrong horse in this race. Holy fucking shit. I've been on the Gardner Webb hype train since last season, and I feel like I get let down most of the time when I hop on that bandwagon. I need to learn my lesson, and I'm not going to stop taking Gardner Webb games going forward. That's what I've learned here.
This game
I'm just not going to stop taking Austin P.
Yeah.
This game was hard for me to pick because I do remember how bad Austin P looked against SIU. And I do know the hype that you talk about with Gardner Webb. So it was actually really hard for me. But when you put the past few weeks into perspective, Austin P has taken a lot of good strides moving forward. So this is just capitalizing on what they've been building.
Yeah. Just brutal for me. I don't know what to say there. 41-14 Austin P. That's just, wow. Did not expect that at all.
I'm not expecting this out of you, Doug. You usually get 1-score games. What the fuck?
Chattanooga at Mercer. We all took Mercer, which means we got Glenn Millard here. The Chattanooga Choo-Choo just blew us away, man. Fucking brutal. All right, so I actually thought this was a pretty good game down the stretch here. Maybe that's a strong dose of copium on my part. I thought it was actually a pretty great game in the second half, at least. Chattanooga pulled this out by way of 5 field goals.
Jesus.
There were six field goals made in this game and 2 touchdowns. And I still thought it was very fun to watch, actually. And my favorite player out of this group was, I said last episode, is Ty James. He was the only, the wide receiver for Mercer, and he was the only one to score a touchdown for Mercer. So at least I got that right. I can take solace in that. That's oh, man, but yeah, Chattanooga. All right. I mean, what else can you say there? That's just
Well, we can say
it
that
was-
Mercer
go ahead.
Mercer's who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were at the beginning of the season.
Mercer is
All right,
the
Kevin,
opposite who we thought they were because we all picked them to win this game, actually. So
Fair.
no, I thought this was a good defensive battle on both sides of the ball. What was not a good defensive battle on both sides of the ball was Marshall, Georgia State, because Georgia State ran the ball all over them, which is cool in one aspect because we'll get to my prospect preview later, and I picked Georgia State's running back. But Marshall couldn't stop him. So, yeah, Georgia State waltzed away with this one, 41-24.
You got skunked on your own slide.
This is the second week in a row he's got skunked on his own slide.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not okay with this. I'm not trying to do this. It's just damn.
You picking 2 FCS games can be difficult because, like, as much as we talk about these teams, we know them, they really are so hot and cold at every level of the game for these guys.
Except for 2 FCS schools.
Yes.
South Dakota State, Montana State.
Yeah.
They're great. Everybody else is like, who the fuck knows?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I thought I knew about Marshall, though, and I didn't. So, who knows?
Who knows?
But we have to talk about, am I getting a negative point? Or are you letting me have Chattanooga Mercer as, like, actually a decent game?
Look, I'm willing to give it to you as a decent game because I love defensive football and bend don't break defenses. And that is literally what Mercer had the entire game. Unfortunately, they still let them get into field goal range. At some point,
their offense couldn't handle it, but the defense played pretty well.
So I'm okay giving you one good one here.
I appreciate it.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. Whew.
I have taken up Doug's chair as the 1 point game or 1 score game man this week. First up, we had the University of Albany, who has not let us down all year, traveling up to New Hampshire, who has let us down numerous times this year, and we all went with Albany. We got granted.
We got granted by the Granite State.
By the Granite State, the New Hampshire Wildcats pulling this one out 38-31. Honestly, a fantastic game at every turn. Unfortunately, the Dogs didn't have it in them this week. Great Danes fall. But still, I'd argue that's a pretty good game.
The dog in me got euthanized.
Damn. You had to go there, huh?
These next 2 games, when I was watching them, because I watched both of these in full, I was having heart attack both times. South Carolina jumped up early against Florida. The Gators do end up pulling this one out at the end of the game, 41-39. Wild way to finish this game out. Like I said, Gators take it. What are you guys? What are your thoughts on this one, guys?
Dude, I don't even know. This game was kind of gross in some ways and kind of the epitome of the SEC this year in some other ways. It just means less defense.
It just means less defense. And Spencer Rattler, can you please find another job? Quarterback is not it.
If we have multiple quarterbacks move to tight end this season,
I would be amazed. Tim Tebow never even did it.
Until he got to the Jets.
I was going to say, but Bug, the Cox let you down in that one is it the first or second time this year?
They'll let me down every time they show up on a slide, so.
Pretty much.
I don't know what we're talking about.
All right, the next one was the battle for the pathway to the Mountain West Championship game in the Mountain West. You got Wyoming at Air Force. And this game was everything I thought it was going to be.
But it's not a rivalry.
But
Correct.
It's not. That's funny, dude. You talk to everybody I know, and we all hate fucking Wyoming.
Yeah, because you're all from the class of 2016.
Class.
Okay, so here's the thing. There is
your 2017 friend also
There-
thinks it's a rivalry.
there is legitimately bad blood between these programs. It's not recognized yet, and that's okay. But these two programs, because of how these games have played out, where they're always one-score games, the home team always wins, these programs do have bad blood. It's building. Sure, we don't want to call it a recognized rivalry yet. That's fine, but there's definitely something there.
Yeah, there are a couple of those games like developing into rivalries, but this is one of them. I'll grant you that, but it's not there yet.
I don't know.
It takes
I still
decades.
enjoy the video of the Wyoming coach cussing out Troy Calhoun after a game. That video surfaced this weekend too. But no, this.
So he's your hero, is what you're saying.
I hate Wyoming. Slightly.
And
Yeah,
Troy
you got the
Calhoun.
weirdest boner going on for that video.
So no, here's the deal, and I've actually been saying this to my friends this year too. Is Troy Calhoun is coaching with a different style this year. He is taking more of those shots. He is trying to move the ball with less time on the clock. He's not just kneeing it out with 2 minutes left in the half. He's trying to make things happen. I like it. I'm not going to lie. I will admit when I have a wrong read on a coach, maybe this is it, but he's at least evolving in a way that I appreciate now watching him coach. That being said, Air Force lost their quarterback at the beginning of the fourth quarter, which gave me a heart attack because the next two drives were followed by fumbles. But then we pull it out on a 70-yard touchdown triple option run, which is the most Air Force thing you can do. Beautiful pitch and run. Air Force pulls it out 34-27. I would argue off the face, guys, we all got that right. We didn't get Blue Falcon this week, but I would argue off the bat that these were three fantastic games.
I agree.
Yeah, we gotta give it to you.
I also want to point out is the Air Force's favorite thing to do, pitching and catching. They love both sides of that.
I said pitch and run. I didn't say pitch and catch.
Well,
Somebody had to catch it, otherwise it would have been on the turf.
That's what happened on the first one.
And the second one, apparently.
Yeah.
No, that one he just fumbled the snap.
When your other player accepted that he had to receive, it worked out. Let's get out of here. All right, so the reveal. Hold up on that. We're doing this Formula One style. We got to announce the podium positions of the week. So first up is Bug. Went 10-12 on the week, 101-71 overall. Third place this week and overall. Tug here. His disappointment is immeasurable and his day is ruined in second place here because he went 13-9 this week, which means I still have the lead and I was first place this week. The heavyweight bout. And I will take Ohio State's fight song. In the first place podium.
Oh, God.
All right. I do gotta say, guys, it's week 6 or week 7. I'm sorry. End of week 7. Congratulations. We have all surpassed 100 points. So that's
at the same time, which is kind of impressive.
It's applause all the way around. Ben, you tried real hard to miss it.
Almost did.
But you got it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that I can catch y'all now.
I just now realized that was my face on the boxer that was on the ground.
Yeah, because I finally surpassed you officially. And that's Muhammad Ali, and we're both from Louisville, so it's perfect. All right.
I'm a-coming.
But wait, there's more.
There were a ton of great games this weekend. I don't know if we want to talk about every single game on this slide, because every time we try to do that, it takes an extra half an hour onto the show. But including midweek games, there were some awesome action to go around.
Which is why you should watch this instead of just listen to it, because we're not going to talk about all of them.
The Sickos Committee game of the week, the Holgo Bolgo, West Virginia, Houston, ended up with 2 basically 2 Hail Mary shots to the end zone to finish this off, and Houston won 41-39.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Arkansas, Alabama ended up being way closer than it fucking deserved to be, which is why Alabama's not climbing in the rankings like they want to. 24-21 field goal win. Man, if Arkansas had a fucking offensive line, Alabama would be in shambles right now.
Right?
The game of the
I
week
know.
for me though was the Stanford Colorado.
Yeah.
Down 29 points, Stanford comes back and win. That's wild.
It made Memphis's loss sting a little bit less, knowing that Colorado choked that one away so epically.
Arizona over Washington State 44-6 was insane. What is happening in Arizona? Are the Wildcats actually good now? I don't know.
You know who's not good? Michigan State giving up 21 straight to the boys from the Piscataway YMCA to lose 27-24. All 21 of those points came in the fourth quarter. Absolutely wild.
And Colorado State got their first ever win over Boise State 31-30 in a wild matchup here.
Oh, man.
Boise State is not good this year. Copy
In
understood.
shambles.
And then in the FCS, a couple of overtime games here, including a double overtime Eastern Kentucky over Tarleton State in a game that I was about to pick, and then my coworker talked me out of it. I wish I would have, because then it would have been no fucking doubt about me getting at least 1 point this week for a good game, because this one was a banger. 41-35, a double overtime. Eastern Kentucky is turning things around pretty quickly, and we do have to realize 2 of their losses were to FBS opponents. So Eastern Kentucky actually is sitting pretty well in position for a playoff spot if they keep winning.
2 games I want to highlight. Brown actually found their way to a win. I know Blind Squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, but over Princeton's actually a good thing for Brown University. That's not one I probably would have predicted. Another one is another wild comeback down of Eastern Washington at Idaho State. Idaho State showing out for literally just the fourth quarter to make this game theirs. 42-41 the final over there.
I also want to shout out Tennessee State, 24-17 over Norfolk State in this one. And Tennessee State is looking like they might also be in position for a playoff push here. Only 2 losses on the season, one of them to Notre Dame. So they're in a good spot. And, I mean, gosh, Eddie George is putting together a decent season down there. Love to see it. I guess that means it's time for our prospect preview, or prospect review in this case, since we just previewed them last episode.
Review?
Prospect preview review. That's great. I
it.
love it. All right. Starting us off with Marcus Carroll here, the running back for Georgia State. As I already mentioned briefly up top, he did go off here for a pretty great game. Improved his yards per carry average on the season. That's not a good look when I picked Marshall. Also, I added another touchdown on the ground and is already eclipsed his previous career total for touchdowns on just 6 games now. So he's having a great season. I am impressed with his quickness. I am hoping that the fumble issues from last season and the first week this year are gone. I don't know for sure. It's hard to tell that off of a game where he doesn't fumble. Like, maybe we have to see that consistently over a long stretch of time before I'll believe that fully. But this is the kind of guy who, with this season, is going to draw interest from a Senior Bowl, an East West Shrine Bowl, something like that. Get an opportunity to prove himself, get to the combine. And if he does well there, he has a great opportunity to perform in the NFL, not just get drafted. This is a guy with limited wear on the tread. That's something the NFL teams really look for now. And honestly, he keeps this up, he'll be a pretty coveted prospect.
Yeah, I mean, that's everything that I was talking about last week, is that he is, I don't want to say He's so lightly
not
used
a
at the
similar
running back
player,
position in
but
college so far.
it's a good comparison, even though they're not the same play style. It's a good comparison to Roschon Johnson, right? Which I think is what you said last episode. So
yeah, that's exactly what I said. So cool. I could
Cool.
almost do the review for Lance Robinson after
I'll let you
watching
do
him
it.
play.
Go
So
ahead.
Lance Robinson was all over the field. He got that first interception of the game, first offensive drive for Memphis right out the gates. He doesn't just jump the route, he makes a fantastic catch along the sideline. I'm not convinced this dude couldn't go and just play wide receiver if he wanted to. He literally had a shoot like toe tap catch on the sideline for that INT. Memphis tried to avoid going his direction, but because of that, other players on that Tulane defense started to shine. I can't think of the name of the guy that got the second interception, but the ensuing drive, he almost got a third one. Now, the second interception was a deflection off of a receiver's hands, but the third one, that boosted his confidence. He almost gets a third pick because he jumps her out. Lance Robinson was making an impact, whether or not he was even on the same side of the ball. And that's exactly what you want out of a top corner or defensive back in general. You want to make teams have to look to the other side and elevate the entire defense.
It is just so crazy to me how quickly he has come on with that ability. Because last year and at Kansas State for 3 years, this never happened. And then just all of a sudden this season, boom, he is a shutdown corner. And the last play of the game, literally the last play of the game as time expires, is him knocking down a pass in the end zone.
Yep, that's
like,
right.
That is exactly what you want to see out of a corner like this. He is playing his way into draft consideration. Again, as I talked about in the preview, this is a guy who literally no one in the world was talking about until he has forced his way into the conversation here. Holy shit. He might be legit.
It was, I was like, oh, this will be a good player to watch, and immediately I was like, holy shit, this dude's legit. Immediately. there was no breaking in. It was just, here it is.
I mean, that's great to hear. Love that. Honestly, I think that does it for our review of week 7, but hold up a minute because we have a couple of midweek rivalries to talk about here that obviously they're going to happen before we get to our week 8 preview episode. We need to make picks right now. We're jumping right in to 2 different midweek rivalry matchups. Number 1 on Wednesday, New Mexico State at UTEP, the battle for I-10. Literally, New Mexico State is like 30 minutes north of UTEP on I-10.
It's very weird. It is very weird out there.
Yeah, this one will be 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Obviously, we know how Bug's going to go in this one because his man Jerry Kills on the sidelines for New Mexico State.
Yeah, baby.
I'm going with that way too. But Tug, you disagree. What are you thinking?
Man, I have no good reasoning behind this. To me, UTEP has not looked good this year, but that opening loss for New Mexico State to UMass has maybe tainted their entire season for me. Maybe I'm misjudging them from an early season loss, which is a distinct possibility, but I don't know. I'm going to take UTEP here.
I mean, UTEP kind of fucked us over the first couple weeks too. So.
I mean, it's fair. Yeah. Well, see, now I'm preventing the skunk then because both times we were either skunking with or skunking against UTEP, and they screwed us both times. So at least I took that possibility away. I took it out of their hands.
In this kind of a matchup, I'm once again going with my favorite player strategy. My favorite player in this matchup is Diego Pava, who is playing better over the last 2 weeks than he did to start the year, looking a little bit more like his 2022 self. So hopefully he can keep that up, even against the all-time career sack leader in UTEP history and prospect preview alum. Praise
he has
Mehule.
played for like twice the time anybody else could.
We don't talk about that. It's fine.
I'll throw this one out here too. I had more fun going to Las Cruces than I did going to El Paso when I was stationed in southern New Mexico. So, yeah, we'll go. We'll go with New Mexico State. I got 2 reasons.
Then next up, Southeastern Louisiana at Northwestern State in a battle of winless teams. Who thought we would be saying that about Southeastern Louisiana, the state of Southeastern Louisiana this year? Wild. If you'll remember from last episode, Northwestern State is dealing with the loss of one of their players. They had to cancel their homecoming game last week, and the conference and ESPN are working closely with the university to update their schedule as needed. The team and the coaching staff still want to play a full schedule. So this game got flexed. It was originally going to be Saturday, and it got moved to Thursday so they could start bumping some other games up as well and still get a full season done in the time constraint that they have. So that's why we're picking this game as well. And if you didn't know this, it happened literally like 2 hours before we went live. This game got flexed to Thursday. So Southeastern Louisiana at Northwestern State, in-state rivalry here, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night on ESPN Plus. And Tug, you were dying to talk there. What are you thinking on this matchup?
Dude, I'm just thinking about this and the amount of emotion coming out of Northwestern State. That's going to be, especially in a rivalry game. This being their comeback game. Man, you never want to be on that team. You never want to have that happen to any team at all, period, dot. That's going to be telling a lot about who they are as a program and as a team, depending on how they come out here. But I'm expecting them to come in and play for their lost member.
Yeah, I think Southeastern Louisiana is going to be able to jump all over that and take advantage of it, even with a home crowd there cheering on Northwestern State, because I do think Northwestern State is a worse team and worse coach. Also, I want to point out both of these schools have the state of Louisiana in their logo, and yet both make the state of Louisiana look vastly different from each other.
Not vastly different.
No, the SLU
is pretty fucking different.
The SLU one took a lot more time, dug in one of the corners to make it look more like an L. Like the SLU one is shorter and wider.
That cut in is just blocked by the N of the Northwestern State logo.
There's a lot more finer details in the Northwestern State logo. Versus,
I agree with that. That's fair.
All I know is
the delta looks different.
Yeah.
All I know is this is a game between directional Louisiana schools.
That is correct. Good job noticing that. The other thing you didn't point out is these are opposite directions.
Though I wanted somebody else to. I don't want to take all the credit.
Literally exact opposite directions of Louisiana schools. I want to say I do believe Southeastern Louisiana is the better team. If we look at common opponents, which is kind of the only thing we have to go off of here, Southeastern Louisiana has played everybody a lot closer, and honestly, at this point, should have won a few games. The amount of one-score games that they've lost is just bad RNG at some point, what it feels like. But I'm going with the emotion at home. This is kind of the replacement homecoming game and a rivalry. It feels like there's going to be so much emotion built up for Northwestern State. I'd be surprised if they didn't come out and at least own the first half here. Maybe they get out-talented in the second half, but it might be too much for the Lions to come back from. That's my whole theory.
There certainly is potential for that.
There's also potential for the Lions to just dog walk them. So
yeah, that potential always exists.
Oh, man. But that does it for Week 7 and preview of Week 8. Wild shit. We got Conference US Tuesdays, Maction Wednesdays, and random ass Thursdays, and a couple of Power School Fridays sprinkled in here and there. So we might have more of these. Actually, it has happened again. We have missed 2 different rivalry games this season because I messed up. Georgia Southern Appalachian State was on a weeknight last week or 2 weeks ago, and I missed it because we needed to make a change to how we do the show schedule to make that pick happen on a Monday night. So that's 2 this year. I'm sorry. But we're also the only place that she keeps track of rivalry games like this. So take the good with the bad, I guess. And we're seeking to improve as always. So that's where we're at.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got us some links. They'll be linked in the description below. We have patreon.com/PTFootball, x.com/PTFootball, facebook.com/PTFootball, instagram.com/BT_football, BDTfootball.com, mailbox@BDTfootball.com, youtube.com/@BigDudesInTheTrenches, twitch.tv/@BigDudesInTheTrenches. Discord will be linked. Guys, I know you want me to. No, I'm not reading it. It will be linked in the description below.
Boo. Boo this man.
Boo me all you want.
Boo.
I
Boo.
will play the villain that you have made me out to be.
Boo. Boo.
So it was my son's Potato even says boo. Boo.
That's right.
It was my son's final flag football game this past Saturday. One of his classmates is on his team, or was on his team, I should say. They had a great game. They won, which is very important for 5-year-olds to understand that they won because, of course, they're competitive. They want to know that they won. It really doesn't matter. I don't care. But you know, they're friends. They're really good at math. You know what we call them? We call them the Algae Bros.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's clearly all the time we have on the show today. Thank you for watching and or listening. And just remember, you can't win a game if you can't win the trenches.